Hey, it's Jason with Incredibly Useful Exercises Volume 6, Lower Fingerboard Mastery Part 3. Let me get this GoPro on here, get the bass, and I think we're ready to go here. Yep, good. Okay, take my practice mute off, and we'll flip over to Modacity, my practice app of choice. So what we are doing here, it is the third and I believe final week of just lower fingerboard mastery. And so the exercises this week, we have the affirmations, which I can't really do with the Kindle app, but if I was doing this on paper, which I think is a good idea, I would definitely have some things written down there just to kind of, frame my practicing right. Then starting and ending with silence, which I love. We've got centering. Many of these exercises come back from time to time. I have found that this one has been taking around a half hour for me, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. That's kind of in the sweet spot for what I do. Getting my rosin here ready, and we're gonna start my little 90-second pre-practicing routine. Tighten up the bow, and I just make sure that the stick almost goes down to the hair, but not quite, okay? And then I'm not going to add any rosin. It's a little bit of a warmer day here in San Francisco, so I think we're good. I might add it during the practice session, but I'm just gonna, before we get going here, I'm just gonna play a couple double stops. I really like doing what I call simple motions when I'm starting the bass. So I might just play. He's really getting that fifth in tune. Then go up to the octave. And then open my hand up. So I'm just sort of like reacquainting myself with some of the navigation points of the bass. I think that's a great way to start my practicing as well. And we'll see what I do as I keep going with these exercises. By the way, I'm going to try to put chapter markings in these in subsequent videos. I think that's helpful so you can skip between these exercises. So that should be coming soon. Okay, we'll move on and do silence. And I really think about lengthening when I do that exercise. I just almost feel like my head is suspended from a string. So that's a great way to frame my practicing. I really like that. That's gonna go in the archive of practicing material for me long-term for sure. And I like this centering exercise too. I've gone through this, I think probably in every single one of these. So, but again, we start with feet, knees, hips, take a breath. Lower back, shoulder blades, take a breath. And I just notice my breath. Actually, I don't take a breath. Let me rephrase that. I notice my breath. I'm not interrupting my breathing when I hit that. I just kind of bring my focus there. Then neck. So we're going up the body, feeling that connection from the floor all the way up. Neck, face, take a breath. Right shoulder, right elbow. I'm just checking in and unlocking all these body parts. Right wrist, right fingers. Breath. I don't know why I keep saying take a breath. Notice my breath. Bring my attention to my breath. Then left shoulder, left elbow, just going down the left arm, left wrist, left fingers. Focus on my breath. Body, arms, breath. This is in G, but you could do it in any key. I'm gonna do it in F today. So here we go. Feet, knees, hips, connecting with those body parts. Take a breath. Or notice my breath, Jason. Lower back, shoulders, shoulder blades. Bring my attention to my breath. Neck, ooh, I hold a lot of tension there. Face, focus on the breath. Right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, fingers, connect with my right fingers, connect with my breath, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist. Sorry. Talking makes me not connect with the right things. And so on and so forth. You can kind of get the idea there. Love that exercise. That's just a great way. I should probably do that instead of my simple motions. We'll see how I incorporate these after I get through the 16 weeks. Next up, Quick and Dead. Dennis has a great video of this. He will explain it much better than me. The idea is where the asterisk is, that's when you put down the finger. So you're going to play like this. You're going to play, fingers are here, ready to go, and you're going to go like this. So the idea is trying to get a little more control over when you have that digital action there. So A is going to be, you put the finger down the note before. So on note 4, B is note 3, C is note 2, which is the hardest, trickiest, most challenging. That's the right word. So we're going to go through it. I will give an attempt. I'll try to look at this. I don't have it. I kind of have it memorized, but I'll try to keep the camera on my left hand as best as I can. Whoops, I think I screwed that up. And then again, what he always does, which I love, or generally does, center. So you always go back, play a note, bring that energy right back in here, and then we go on. So B, again, I'm going to put my first finger down on the third note. Down. And I think it's this. Again, center, bring that energy right back, just like the others. Always come back and center. And then this one, because it occurs earlier, I agree with Dennis. I find this a little bit more cognitively demanding. So I'm going to try to, we'll see how it goes. And... those aren't as in tune as I would like, and I would work toward that. I would also do these on the other strings. So we're doing them on G and D. You can take them over to the D and the A string. You can take them over to the A and the E string. You could start up bow. You could slur a couple notes. You could certainly vary the tempo, bring it up faster, considerably faster even than that. So lots of things that you could do right there. Okay, we're going to move on though. And growing bow scale is basically using, changing the dynamics by the amount of bow you're using. So these first 2 bars, I would start and I would use about, so I'm varying my amplitude. I think that's the right word for it. And I am now noticing that this is my Leatherwood Bespoke rosin, by the way. And this is Modacity, if you're new to these videos. I've been singing their praises for years. Love that practice app. So this is the 40% hydration. Going to give myself a little bit after all. I lied. Okay, so we can practice this with the metronome. So I could call that up and put it on 60. Might as well. So we're gonna start, and now just one thing to notice throughout these, he starts just with full bar dynamic changes, crescendo, decrescendo, And then they vary in complexity as they go. Then it's crescendo, decrescendo within 1 bar. Then it's 3 beats of crescendo, 1 bar, 1 beat of decrescendo, decrescendo all the way down. Now we're going from fortissimo all the way down and then back up to fortissimo. So he's just sort of playing with it, all within the confines of, within the frame, maybe is a better word, of the G major 2-octave scale. Okay, here we go. Find a good low G. Ready? And... Oop. Got to turn off. Great. Well, sorry. I meant to put it into a... There. Okay, now we're good. Ready, and go. Turn and decrescendo. Okay, so that's kind of the idea with that one. I think that was the first time I've recorded that one, and that wasn't awesome. Then, of course, I get thrown for a loop by text message. And so I have a bad habit of not putting do not disturb on my phone, and then I get interrupted. So I should learn my lesson. Anyway, that's a great exercise. Just again, one of those is just sort of expanding your tonal palette, the way that you can change dynamics. It's a cool exercise. That didn't go very well though, so I'm going to go give it 2 stars. Okay, so 4-note progressive scale. We have done these before. These are many people do these, but Jeff Bradisich, someone that Dennis Whitaker and I have both worked with. I learned them from him back in the early 90s. So in the first octave, lead the shifts with the elbow, not the hand, which is important. So what that means is, maybe I'll get on the first bar so we can have a musical example. So here we are. Now, the question many have asked in their life, and teachers have worked with people on, is what now? We got to get to the C sharp. So I see all sorts of things, like I see people going like that. I see people try to move everything. I see people try to I don't know. I see all sorts of things. What Dennis is talking about with lead with the elbow is, imagine that someone has a string attached to your elbow, and they pull that string, and then the hand follows. So you're here. And then the same thing happens in reverse. It's like someone's got it right here. They're just pulling it up like that. And another concept that I find helpful, particularly when standing, and I often sit. Actually, I almost always sit for orchestra, but I left my stool in Chicago. I'm not kidding. And I just decided I'll sit if there is a stool, and I just don't have a stool at home right now. When I'm standing, and doing these, I'm also thinking a little bit about letting the bass come into my body when I go this direction. Now, I'm not doing I'm not doing any more than I need to, but there is a little bit when I go this direction, it's like I'm coming around the bass a little bit. And then when I stand up, the bass comes out. I will do a video, probably not with a camera on my head, on that topic, because there's a lot to that topic. But so the idea is you want to take these exercises as an opportunity, particularly for these first few, to really understand how this motion works. And I find it really important for me, and when I've been teaching, to make sure that the thumb and left hand fingers are all like an integral unit. And I also like, this is not how I originally learned this exercise, but I love this, and I've been practicing this way. I love how Dennis separates it into two groups. So you're doing a down bow for this group, an up bow for this group. It allows you to kind of it separates the two positions. I find that very helpful. Then later, he has you do it all four slurred, which is the way I've learned it. I've also found it helpful for people to just take away break it down, simplify, get rid of the slurs entirely. It's a great way to do it. Okay, I'm gonna play through these. I'll kind of scroll along here so you can see what's up. So. Then we go to the next position. We still are doing two notes. That first one was 1-4-2-4. This one's 1-4-1-4. I put on a little too much rosin. Apologies. But so here again, right here. And when we get to this D-E, that is just right in the crook of the neck block right here. So this is one of the navigation points, perhaps the most important navigation point, in my opinion at least. So this one, whether I'm on a D or E flat neck, this happens to be a D, I still try to use this as a point of reference for D right there. So it'd be, whoops, wow, really out of tune, Jason. That would be 7th fret if you're coming from that world. So okay, again. Then we go on. He's popped into treble clef. And this is a bit of a tangent, but I've yacked through most of this anyway. You'll see in older music a lot of tenor clef written for the bass. I rarely see tenor clef used these days. It's kind of looked at as a bit old-fashioned, to be honest. And so, but it's still something that you're going to want and need to learn how to read. I do like, because we're just playing higher on the instrument in general now, I think that transitioning to treble makes a lot of sense, but that's just, you'll notice this here. Then the last thing, as we run out of time, and I've gotten into these more and I will in future videos too, but the option of 4 or 3, I think, and I have talked a bit about these on this series. It depends on what I'm doing. In general, I would play that with 3, but maybe if I was. There are some use cases for me for 4, especially if I wasn't going to keep going up into thumb position. I might want to just keep 4 in the mix and not do 3. Also, depending on the size of your hand and the size of your bass. Well, I did not get very far on that one, but hopefully that was useful, but I try to rate it accurately. Okay, trills. These are odd trills. Dennis has even and odd trills. I'm going to practice this with a metronome today, but I'm probably going to have to turn the metronome off for the 7s because my brain doesn't do very well over groups of 4. I kind of have this theory that we musicians can't really count beyond 4. We're thinking in groups of 2 or 3 for anything like 11/8 or 7/8 or that kind of thing. So I've been trying to do 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 in my brain, but that with the metronome, it just blows my brain up. Okay, so we're going to start 126 is the tempo that Dennis has marked for these, and we're trying to do a pronation motion for these, which Dennis explains somewhere here. I don't remember. Yeah, for left hand articulations, forearm vibrato motion. Yeah, so it's kind of like the same motion as vibrato, except we're connecting. So we'll start with odd trills, lower octave. We'll get the metronome going. Gonna have some nice finger percussion too. Then same tempo for variation A. Bump, 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 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1, and, or, well, you get the idea. Okay, here we go. Variation A, and. Wait, I screwed that one up. I'm going to start at the top and flip it around. So around the D. In general, I just plow through it, but I want to try to be accurate. And so I'm connecting, and then I'm trying to feel like I release. After that finger percussion happens, whichever the finger might be, I try to feel a sense of relaxation all the way down my arms. Now we start to slow the tempo down a bit. B is going to get into fives, which for whatever reason I can seem to do with the metronome. Go down to 94. Bump, 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 bump. Right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, something like that. B. And then this one, I'm just gonna, I know my limits for this one, so I'm gonna go slow. Whoops. Bottom, bum, bum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So, wait, am I screwing that up? Well, anyway, I got to work on that one. That is definitely on the to-do list. I thought that would get better by the time I filmed, but it did not. Okay, trills. Oh boy, this day's not going so well, but that's okay. Disco. So this is good. I would if you're don't go beyond the if your hand gets too tired to play, pizzicato softly. Also, it's called disco because it's certainly well, you know that. So it's that pattern, right? So why for this? This is interesting. So power, yes, this does take some strength. This is something I would do a little bit at a time if you hadn't done this before. So the strengthening of the left hand frame in the lower octave, the strengthening and conditioning of the fourth finger muscle, the abductor, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, between the fourth finger and the wrist, and the accurate tuning of octaves. So Dennis recommends plucking with the 2 on the low string and 1. And you can see I've got this little chicken wing going on here. Don't know if that's good or bad, actually. I think it's fine. And then what I do, and I don't think he specifically spells this out here, but the question that I always run into and that I've had asked many times is, what do you do with your second finger? So there are 2 options. But you could see halfway through I went to my preferred option. One option is to have just 1 on that low note, 2, 3, 4 right here. There are 2 reasons why I'm not in love with this hand shape. One is that it feels just a bit strained. I feel like I'm really reaching with 1, and this just feels like there's a little more separation than there needs to be. I'll finish my thought, and then apparently I didn't give myself enough time to do this one. But the hand position that I prefer, and this comes from the bowing world in part, is 1 on the low string, 3/4 on this string, and then not really pushing it down, but kind of. So I don't have second finger all the way to breast, but it's sitting on the D string, sitting on the middle string. It'd be the A string if we were on these strings. And that just kind of lowers the string a little bit. It prevents it from accidentally ringing. And it just feels like a bit of a stronger position because there's not so much separation. So that's the way I practice these. I obviously didn't get very far through them, but what they do, just real briefly, is they go out, you do that pattern, then you go up a half step, so starting on D, then you go up to E flat, start there at E and F, and then do the exact same pattern but start on the E and D strings. They're great. They can tire you out, and I would do a little bit over different periods of the practice sessions. I think Dennis even mentions that, but just exercise caution on these so you don't, it's a technique we need all the time, whether playing disco or Beethoven or you name it. But just, you might want to build up slow on that, again, because the power and endurance, especially the power ratings, are so high on those. Okay, moving on. Boy, have I broken 2 stars on any of these? Okay, Oompah, he has 2 exercises here, the Oompah primer and the Oompah. I am grouping these into just one on modacity, but obviously, or you do you in terms of practice organization. This is prepping you to play this Franz Samandel etude that is just a good developer for all kinds of skills. I think he doesn't talk about pizzicato. For some reason, I thought maybe that one started pizzicato too, but I don't think so. So the pattern, which anybody, any jazz player will be very familiar with this, is we take this. And by the way, I am also starting in the same position I was talking about with the last exercise, disco, with my second finger right here. Though at times when I'm actually doing the exercise, my second finger is going to be here, it's going to be here, it's going to be moving around. But my default position when I'm playing octaves, and so over the years, this will take a lot more conscious thought, in my experience, but it will become unconscious as you play more bass and just get more comfortable. You'll see I'm making all these little adjustments. It's like I'm climbing a cliff face, and I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't climb, but you don't just move the whole body. You like move the arms and move the legs. You do this and that. Bad analogy, Jason, but I don't jump. I like walk individual things. So very slowly, I get one over, and so you can see that. And so that's what I'm doing anyway. And you can see that when I do it at a faster tempo, I've just ingrained that in myself for the last few decades. So if I think about it too hard, I can't do it. But so that's the pattern, just this circle of fifths. And so on and so forth. Then he hops you up. And you go up to that high there, and then you finish. So I will go slower on that, but with it zoomed out. Try to connect as much as I can, given the requirements. And that's not the most out of tune playing I've ever heard, but it's certainly not the most in tune. So I will trust but verify on that one too. And I do when I'm practicing this sort of stuff. Check. Or you could put a tuner on, certainly, and there are lots of different ways to practice this. But again, it's probably a good idea to take a chunk and perfect it, and then connect these little chunks rather than to go through the whole thing out of tune. But very, very briefly, I guess we're only hanging out on the primer here today, so my bad. But hopefully this is useful. So now we're here on B1. We're doing this forking motion. So we're going to play, and this, if you're new to this, that is like kind of an intermediate level move to maybe even like slightly advanced move. So I am forking my finger almost as if it's almost like a thumb position kind of setting for that. So, and then what I do for this one, I'm trying to keep 4, and for this particular exercise, 3 for this bar rather, down. So, and then I believe you do 3 then for B. Then, and he actually has you hang out up there. And there are all these different variants to the pattern, and then this all gets explored in Oompah, which is it's a great exercise for you. Again, a lot of these lower exercises, a little go a long way when you're starting out. They're great, and I generally, when I'm not talking through them, I'm getting through all of them. Although I've only been playing like 1 key on the actual Oompah. But anyway, this is a great one. If this is a new concept for you, I would chill out on this Oompah primer for quite some time. Always better to do a simplified or a little bit of an exercise really well and get that solid foundation, and then build on that to just like open this up and like slam through this with fingers flying and tension and injury imminent. So this is my 2 cents on that, but it's a cool exercise that I guess went moderately okay. Okay, these double stops. So that's right. These are the ones that are, Dennis encourages you to start them out pizzicato, strumming the notes with your thumb. You might need to develop a little callus there. So careful you don't strum too much or you blister up. This exercise is super cool. It's related to other exercises I've done throughout my life. These hand position exercises, which I find really useful just for like making sure I'm dialed in on exactly what I should be. So I'm going to play this bar here, and you can see I'm strumming like a flamenco guitarist, only just the thumb, with this little corner, which I do have a callus on, but if you don't, play much softer, use different parts of the thumb. You could play them not with the thumb too, but I like playing with the thumb. So we have perfect fifth, tritone, major third, minor third, major third, tritone. And these are each little independent loops. You can just loop infinitely. So, and something I don't want to do that I was doing a little bit there. You can see I was pulling the string a little bit around. Trying to keep things as curved as possible, given the circumstances. I'm trying to really come up and down on the string as best as I can. And then as you move through it, so here we are starting on A and E. Now we just scooch back a half step, and we go like this. So we're on G. Oh, I'm sorry. Where is my brain? There we are. So I'm on G sharp, D sharp. Then we go back another half step. And we go back, continuing back to half position. So just so I actually get through something today, let me just play through A, and I will do each one twice. And I'm going to, bowing-wise, I'm going to slur 2. I know the whole bar is slurred, but when you're starting slow, I think separate. Or perhaps, and then it's probably what I'm going to do, which is 2 slurred. You feel my intonation starting to get shaky, like it was. It's like grab onto the emergency ladder, which would be harmonics or open strings. Now we're down here, F sharp, C sharp, F and C. And then half position. And this is a really effective exercise at developing what I call square hand position. I don't know if that's the best name for it, but you can kind of see that, I'll put my bow down to demonstrate, you can kind of see that this finger's bowing this way. I don't know what the technical term is for that. And then this finger's bowing this way. So there's a little bit, and then these two are more or less straight up and down. And I'm not going like this. I'm not going like this. I have a nice, just kind of, the square hand position. That's my favorite name for it. So this, and I guess he then takes you down to the perfect fifth, the D and A center, and then you move over and do the exact same thing starting here on the middle two strings and then the bottom two strings. And then you can vary them. See, I guess I was doing variation A, actually. And then variation B, you slur 3, you can play them staccato, you can do a wide variety of things. Faster, slower, dotted rhythms, so many different ways to spice that one up. That's a good one. Sure, I'll give myself 3 stars. I think that's okay. Finger replacements. We have done this before. It's a cool exercise. I'm trying to... if you lose the pitch center, return to the beginning of the measure. That's good advice. So what we're doing is we are developing the ability to swap out fingers with as little pitch change as possible. So the salient point in this is these G's right here, 1, 2, 4, 1. We want to go. You know, if you close your eyes, it just sounds like I can't hold a note very well. I'm trying to be as smooth as possible. I'm trying not to go. I'm trying to really kind of just make it as smooth as possible. It is a challenge. No need to go fast on this one. A drone is a great idea. Let me put a D. How about a D drone on, just to keep us honest? I realized I didn't tune. Why did I not tune? Hopefully I'm in tune. Oh, Monday. Okay. So we I guess I'll zoom in so you can see. So we're starting the first bar. Then we go up. Same, still E and A strings. Now we go up. Still E and A strings. So we're playing B here. And now we go back here. Now here's where we first change to, we go from here, now. And then so on and so forth. Here we are. And then one more on these strings. Oops. And then I believe we go over to the D and G string. Yep. So we're here. And now this one is a little bit different because we got the tritone, so the pattern is just a little bit different. This one is 2, 4, 1, 2. That'll throw you for a curveball if you're not careful, that bar. Whoops, like it threw me for a curveball there. And then we go up. Whoops. And you could hear my pitch got pretty wonky there in the middle. And then he flips it back around and you go back down. Great exercise, really cool. All of these, this is this sort of set, this volume right here, that I would practice before I went and played an orchestra gig. I think that this is like, I love exercises like this before I go play an orchestra because I feel like it's like bringing what I need to do into focus. It's like just like oiling the right spots and dusting off the right things and shining up the right things. And so I'm a big fan of these types of exercises. I've done this kind of thing in a less organized way. a lot over the years, but I'm really appreciating going through this. And I just snuck a peek, and last we end with a little bit of silence. So I'm just thinking about lengthening on all of that and just really keeping everything in good shape. And yeah, then we finished. That was 38 minutes. So that is definitely on the shorter side. Another thing I love about this app, since apparently I'm still recording, is that you can set a practice reminder. So you can remind yourself whenever you want to practice the next time. Cool. Hey, thanks, folks. Thanks for hanging out. That was volume 6 of Incredibly Useful Exercises. Hopefully you're getting some value out of this. I have 10 more to do. So, and I'm worried that I've gotten lulled into a sense of complacency with these low register exercises. And I thought, I should just power through these and do like one a day and get through them. I just don't have the bandwidth right now to do more than one a week. So I guess we got another 10 weeks here, but I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you at the next one.